Ever watched a video, saw the chaos unfolding in the comments, and thought, man, this is better than the movie? Well, guess what? You made it happen. We recently posted a full video about the new upcoming movie, Resident Evil 2026. A new live action is coming, and it might be worse. The video is linked at the bottom of the description, but don't rush. Stay here, get all the juicy details first, and then check it out later so you'll be fully prepared for the chaos. And here's how it works. Whenever we see a storm of awesome, crazy, funny, or spicy comments, we open a special segment called Behind the Frog. It's our space to sit back, grab a coffee, and answer your questions, theories, and sometimes emotional zombie rants. If you left a comment, there's a huge chance you'll hear your name today, shouted loud and proud by this frog right here.
And hey, even if you didn't comment yet, it's never too late. Leave one now and maybe you'll show up in the next Behind the Frog.
So buckle up, survivors. Today we're answering everything. Milla Jovovich nostalgia, Netflix drama, who's Team Frog, who's Team Wool, and whether zombie movies are doomed forever. Let's jump into the first comment.
All right, first up, shout out to Art Mark-Loeschenfelder who says, I will watch it. Hope it's better this time. A brave soul going back for more Resident Evil after everything we've been through.
Marcelo, my man, you and me both. We've been burned before. Bad CGI, slow-motion sunglasses, and more jump scares than actual plot. But here we are again, because we want to believe. Hope, my friend, is the true survival horror. Let's just cross our fingers this time it's more Resident and less evil decision-making in the writer's room.
Don't worry, Marcelo, if it goes wrong again, we'll all be here to scream together in the comments. This one's from A Digital Fulcrum, our digital archivist of all things zombie. They said, so far there are 4 Resident Evil computer animated movies from Capcom. They don't do anything big to advance the plot, but they are entertaining and fun. If anyone hasn't seen them, I encourage digitally renting them to have a good action horror movie night. Honestly, solid advice. Those movies don't reinvent the wheel, but they deliver that classic Leon versus bioterror chaos we crave.
Right? It's like zombie comfort food. You're not there for Oscar-winning drama. You're there for roundhouse kicks, broken glass, and a virus outbreak every 12 minutes. And if you're new to the series, Digital Fulcrum's got the right idea. Rent them all, turn the lights off, crank the sound up, and let Leon do his thing. Just don't expect any of it to make total sense. It's Resident Evil.
Big thanks to our Digital Fulcrum for the perfect weekend survival horror plan. Ooh, we've got a mini Resident Evil trivia war going on in the comments. Let's clear this up once and for all for anyone out there planning a full zombie movie night. So here's the official count. Capcom has produced 4 full CG animated movies and 1 miniseries. The confusion comes from Infinite Darkness, which technically isn't a movie, but we'll get to that. Here's your Resident Evil animated watch list straight from the Umbrella archives. Resident Evil Degeneration 2008, directed by Makoto Kamiya, produced by Capcom and Sony Pictures. Leon and Claire fight zombies at an airport and uncover a pharma conspiracy. Resident Evil Damnation 2012, directed by Makoto Kamiya again. Leon heads to Eastern Europe to deal with bioorganic weapons during a civil war. Action-packed and gritty, Resident Evil Vendetta 2017, directed by Takanori Tsujimoto. Leon, Chris, and Rebecca team up against a new viral threat in New York. Super stylized combat, Resident Evil Death Island 2023, directed by Eiichiro Hasumi. Big reunion, Jill, Leon, Claire, Chris, and Rebecca all together. A full fan service zombie showdown on Alcatraz. Bonus, Resident Evil Infinite Darkness 2021, a 4-episode mini-series on Netflix, set between Resident Evil 4 and 5, focusing on Leon and Claire again. Stylish, but more political intrigue than pure action. So yeah, Wes Harries was right on the 5 titles, but Amadeus Henrik UV9 GT made a solid point. Infinite Darkness is a mini-series, not a movie. If you want to marathon just the films, stick with the 4. But if you're a true fan, watch all 5 for the full experience.
I'm doing a rewatch tonight. I need my weekly dose of Leon jumping out of helicopters in slow motion.
Capcom sure knows how to keep the virus mutating and the fans coming back. Let us know in the comments if you've seen them all. Frank, we've got a strong opinion from a Catfish Vodka 668. Bro, just do the voice yourself. Who can stand listening to an AI voice for a whole video? Not me. Oof, someone's ears are offended.
But I am doing my voice. This is the official Frog Frank voice, right? Wait, does he mean Tails' voice? Our animator? The founder of 3DC?
Uh-oh.
No, don't even start. My voice was approved, okay? Thales pays for my coffee, my electricity, my mic. If 3DC ever makes enough money to hire Morgan Freeman to voice me, I'm diving headfirst into the Resident Evil virus pool.
Relax, Frank. You're still the only frog with a drama-certified voice contract.
And a bonus for emotional range.
All right, Frog. Here's a warm and fuzzy one from Ared Menace 1829. He says, nobody cares, man.
Bro, I care. Mostly because my therapist says I should. All right, moving on before I start crying. Wool, hit me with a real one.
All right, Frank. Here's one from O.S. Harry's, and honestly, I love the energy. He says, I'd watch it for Milla. If she still got it in her, I'd love that. And just for the record, let's honor the queen of laser corridors. Milla Jovovich starred in 6 live-action Resident Evil movies, all directed by her husband, Paul W.S. Anderson. Here they are, for anyone who wants to binge them like it's 2007 again. Resident Evil, 2002. Resident Evil, Apocalypse, 2004. Resident Evil, Extinction, 2007. Resident Evil, Afterlife, 2010. Resident Evil, Retribution, 2012. Resident Evil, The Final Chapter, 2016. 6 movies, 1 unstoppable Alice, and about 432 slow-motion kicks.
Wes, if she shows up again, I'm in full hype mode. She fought zombie dogs, clones, robots, and even some questionable CGI. Let her return with a flamethrower, a motorcycle, and a Spotify playlist called Apocalypse Hits. And I'm there.
Let's be real, if Milla steps on screen, half the fan base is back instantly.
She is the T-virus of action energy, totally contagious.
Okay, this one's from our NVS Catalyst, and I can already feel the frustration through the screen. They said, oh, FFS, why can't they just stick to the damn source material? I've got a suspicion that this film is going to take place in RE7 and Village era.
Oh, the eternal pain of every Resident Evil fan. Why can't they just do the games? Capcom hands Hollywood a full buffet of monsters, lore, and chaos. And the screenwriters go, you know what would be cool? If Leon was a hacker and the zombies had feelings.
Okay, but to be fair, RE7 and Village do have that cinematic horror vibe. Ethan Winters walking around with no fingers in 4K. Anyone?
Yeah, RE7 and Village are terrifying and stylish. But if they go that route, I swear they better not skip Lady Dimitrescu. I want tall vampire drama or I'm out.
Maybe the writers are just scared of making a movie where the plot actually makes sense.
Dear Netflix, Amazon, Hollywood, whoever, just play the game. Take notes. Copy it. We don't need reinvention. We need zombies and Jill doing backflips. Thank you.
All right, next up we've got our Ashes/I549, who says, dude, I'm all about the original RE1, 2, and 3, but I love RE4 and 5, hate Part 6, and 7 and 8 I like, but don't love. Okay, quick clarification for everyone watching. This comment's talking about the Resident Evil video games, not the movies. I know, it gets confusing when there are 300 versions of Resident Evil 4 out there. So, just to be clear, he's talking about the classic survival horror games, RE1, 2, and 3 from the PlayStation days, the fan-favorite action shift in RE4 and 5, the, let's call it, chaotic experiment that was RE6, and then the first-person horror reboot with RE7 and RE8. Frank, don't worry, you don't need to yell about the movie lasers this time. We're in the game zone.
Whew, good, because I was this close to flipping a table over Wesker's sunglasses again. Man, those first RE games, pure survival horror gold, RE1, 2, and 3 are classics. Slow zombies, creepy hallways, and doors that load like a suspense mini-movie. But then, RE6 happened, and yeah, I feel you, Ashy. That game tried to be 4 games at once. Too much action, too many campaigns, too little horror. It kind of broke the vibe. Maybe that's why so many people checked out for a while. But hey, maybe this Resident Evil 2026 movie is more than just another reboot. Maybe it's a soft hype reset, a warm-up for a new RE game, A true comeback to the spooky roots? I'm keeping one frog eye on it, just in case.
All right, this message is from Solar DNA. They said, by AI. And then Red Menace 1829 jumped in and replied, literally nobody cares. So, Frog, does anybody care?
Maybe not, Wool, but I don't want to lose my job either. So let's just move on to the next one before someone fires the frog.
All right, here's a super detailed comment from Ajavarjov. They're saying that based on who's writing and directing the new movie, they're feeling less worried about it. And they also point out that even though many of the old Resident Evil movies and shows were just okay and pretty different from the games, they still helped boost the franchise's popularity a lot. He compares it to Dead Space and The Evil Within, amazing games, but without live-action adaptations or big marketing pushes, they never reached the same massive hype level.
Great points, Ajavarjov. You're right. The Resident Evil movies didn't always capture the true vibe of the games, but they brought in a whole new wave of fans and made the franchise explode. Dead Space and Evil Within are awesome. I love them too. But without movies or big shows to pull in casual audiences, they stayed more like cult classics. If the 2026 live action even manages to be just decent and respects the games a little more, that's already a win for everyone who loves seeing Resident Evil shine.
And if it doesn't, Frank, at least we'll get more memes out of it?
Exactly, Wool. Worst case scenario, still entertainment.
All right, this one's from Adu Cox 8 and 35, and honestly, it's a really good point. Here's what he said. The problem with any movie that comes from a game is that most of the movie-going public has never even heard of the game, and the movie ends up being their first introduction. But it also needs to stick to the game, or else it gets bad press. Like when Iron Man's first movie came out, I had no idea about the comics, and still loved it because it stood on its own. Same thing with Resident Evil. I knew nothing and still had fun. No matter what, a movie, even a sequel, needs to stand alone without prior knowledge while still respecting the original source. I totally agree with you, Doug. That balance is really hard to hit. All right, Frog, what do you think? Should a movie survive without players or readers knowing the original story?
Doug, you nailed it. And honestly, maybe I'm a little picky about this stuff because I love comic books. I work with games and 3D movies all day. It's kind of in my DNA to think about this exact problem. I mean, Iron Man became the giant it is today because it nailed both audiences. People who grew up with the comics were happy, and people who never heard of Tony Stark still got a great movie experience. That's pure magic when it happens. Now with Resident Evil 2026, maybe that's exactly what they're aiming for too. Make it exciting for newcomers, but layered enough to reward longtime fans. Let's see. And hey, Doug, if you liked Iron Man but never explored the comics, you might want to start. The classic Demon in a Bottle storyline, 1979, by David Michelinie and Bob Layton, is one of the best. Raw, emotional, and kind of sets the tone for a lot of what made Tony Stark so interesting on screen too.
Careful, Frog. You're going to turn the whole comment section into comic book fans now.
Good, we need more.
All right, folks, this next one, oof. It's a full saga in the comments. I'll try to explain it quickly, at least the way I understood it. First, Ucklamore10 jumped in saying he loved the Resident Evil Netflix series. He argued that it actually follows the game's timeline after the known events, references a lot of game lore, and builds a believable story in a time period that doesn't exist in the games yet. His point? Unless you copy the games exactly, no show or movie will ever capture the feeling people want. So we should be a little more open-minded. But then all Win in Cloud Shadow 158 showed up like a boss fight and said, if you like the Netflix show, you're not a real fan. He argued the show had nothing to do with the games, criticized the changes to characters like Wesker, the bad CGI, and said it felt like it was written by people who didn't understand Resident Evil at all. And honestly, he pointed out the show got canceled, so that says a lot. So yeah, both sides have super strong opinions. You can tell these two are clearly hardcore fans. They just see the franchise in very different ways. Now here's the thing. I kind of defend the series a little. I really think you can make a good Resident Evil show if you take the spirit of the games and the books and build something new from there. It doesn't have to be a carbon copy. Scene by scene, sometimes expanding the universe, showing what happens after the games, can be super exciting. You just need heart, respect for the world, and good storytelling.
And I think If you mess too much with the original, if you change the characters, change the vibe, ignore the canon, then it's not really Resident Evil anymore. You're just slapping the name on it to ride the hype wave and cash in. And that's why fans get mad. Because they love the original for what it is, and when it feels like it's just being used instead of celebrated, it hurts. You lose that emotional connection.
So yeah, if you're wondering, I'm Team Wool. Build something new based on the heart of the series.
And I'm Team Frog at respect the lore, stay true to the roots.
Now it's your turn. Are you with Team Wool, who says expand the universe? Or Team Frog, who says honor the legacy?
Drop your vote in the comments. Make it new or keep it classic. We'll be counting.
And no matter what team you're on, at least we're all surviving this Resident Evil outbreak together. All right, here's one coming in hot from Avicente Aguilera HK2Co. Hollyweird will never make Resident Evil good. Look at the crap they did with Milla's trash movies. Welcome to Raccoon City sucked. Don't even get me started on the Netflix show. Sheesh, Vicente's not pulling any punches. Clearly Team Frog on this one. What do you think, Frank?
Man, I can't even argue much. I kind of agree. But the worst part is, I still watch the whole thing, Wool. Sitting there, arms crossed, mad at every scene, and still glued to the screen like, maybe it'll get better, maybe, just maybe. And by the end, I'm just like, well, I've seen worse. But seriously, Vicente, respect for the honesty. Sometimes being a fan is just painful.
Even when it's bad, we still stay till the end like true survivors?
For better, for worse, in virus and in health.
All right, here's a sweet one from Atilantano Lakatos who said, I'm love Last of Us. Capcom do Resident Evil like Last of Us. Oh, clearly Team Hopeful right here. So Frog, what do you think? Resident Evil a la Last of Us?
Look, I get it. The Last of Us set a crazy high bar. The acting, the atmosphere, the emotional punch to the gut. It's not just zombies, it's about feelings. Yeah, it's beautiful, no denying it. But when it comes to Resident Evil, I really hope they aim for that level of quality, but without turning Resident Evil into a full-on Last of Us clone.
Yeah, Re has its own crazy energy. The virus outbreaks, the weird experiments, the survival horror feel. It's different.
Exactly. I don't want Resident Evil turning into a slow, sad road trip. I want bioweapons, giant mutated frogs, secret labs exploding, and maybe a little heartbreak, but mostly explosions.
So basically, less crying, more bazooka.
Exactly. More bazooka, more herbs, less sad guitar solos. And you guys, what would you want? A Resident Evil with Last of Us drama vibes? Or full crazy Resident Evil survival horror? Drop your dreams and nightmares in the comments.
All right, now this next one really warmed our little frog and sheep hearts. It's from a Michael Condren 1304, and he said, I like this video. I think whoever wrote it has talent, and whoever voiced it did an excellent job. I think the comments about this being AI are both unenlightened and undeserved, although I guess we can't expect deep thinking from bots. Gigo is as Gigo does. Michael, seriously, I thank you so much. We're super grateful for your words. We pour a lot of love into the scripts, the voices, the chaos, and the caffeine too.
I swear, no bots were harmed in the making of this channel. Only real frogs, real coffee, and real hours writing until our eyes look like T-virus mutations.
And honestly, every single comment, even the silly ones, help us grow and make better videos for you.
So, thank you to everyone who's been commenting, debating, cheering, or just hanging out with us.
Now, stick around, because the next questions are wild. Oof. Okay, this one's from AmsterGreen2769, and it's a big one. He said, this is the part where I ask the question, why? Why do this? We've had several adaptations over the years. Why keep beating a dead horse? Do people no longer aspire to create something new and totally different? I'm tired of rehashed stuff, stolen content, and this endless time loop. That's why I don't even go to the movies or watch TV anymore.
Dang, Mr. Green. That hit harder than a tyrant punch.
I get it. I really do. It feels like the same old stories keep getting recycled instead of new ideas coming to life.
Yeah, it's tough. Sometimes the studios go for the familiar names because it's safer, right? You say Resident Evil or Silent Hill, and people already know what you're talking about. Instant audience, even if they risk burning the franchise.
But hey, just because some things flop doesn't mean people aren't trying new stuff. Indie games, new comics, small movies, they're out there. They just don't always get the big spotlights.
And who knows? Maybe 2026 surprises us with something that actually feels fresh, even inside an old franchise.
Don't give up on stories yet, Mr. Green. Sometimes magic shows up where we least expect it.
And if not, well, just grab a coffee, sit down in front of YouTube, watch some of our crazy videos, ask for something new, leave a comment about anything. We're here for you. Big hug, my friend.
Eye-bobbering name 9so21 says, the second live-action movie was good. Hey, fair point. Some people really liked Resident Evil Apocalypse. Nemesis crashing through walls. Classic.
You know, I don't even remember it super clearly, but now you made me want to do a full marathon. Rocket launchers, zombie dogs, slow motion dives. Sounds like a perfect terrible night. I'm in.
Let's just bring a lot of popcorn. And maybe some green herbs, just in case. A grasshopper LN9us says, I liked the first one. Yeah, it was cheesy, but it had charm.
Yes! Finally someone said it! The first movie was like a big plate of cheesy nachos, messy, weird, but somehow totally satisfying. And honestly, I'll take charming and cheesy over boring and soulless any day.
Sometimes a little cheese makes everything better, even zombie apocalypses. All right, final comment from Adiano Loves the Monkey, AI Slop. Short, sweet, and kind of spicy, huh?
Hey, it's not Resident Evil without a little chaos at the end.
And that's it, folks. We've officially read all your comments.
Thanks for all the love, the debates, and even the salty seasoning. And if you missed it, the full video where we talk about the upcoming Resident Evil 2026 movie is linked down below in the description. Go check it out. And hey, don't forget to tell us, are you Team Wool or Team Frog?
See you in the next outbreak, survivors!